Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello and welcome. It's part 2 of Super Sunday here on Apex Racing TV as the Weekend Warriors makes the trip, a rather lengthy one, right around the globe. Alton Park earlier on in the Formula Fields, now it's the Ford Spec races here at Fuji Speedway in Japan in the foothills of Mount Fuji, iconic long straight. Well, what's the worst that could happen? Slipstream all the way. That's what's going to happen here at Fuji. I'm Tim Cox. We've got Lewis Array in the virtual production trailer. Tom Dillon joins me now. Tom, with these cars, when we came here, when this circuit first came to the service, it was like, I still can't put it into words. Absolute craziness. It's just known for its massive long straight, but there's some tight and technical bits in there too.
There is, and well, I'm quite impressed, Tim, that over the course of the last hour, you've made the nearly 12-hour-long, whatever it is, flight over to Fuji. That's great commitment to the course, I have to say. But yes, I've raced this track once in endurance on the sim, and have to say I'm not a huge fan of the circuit, how it drives, but it lends itself to some very interesting racing, and that is always something we like to see when we're in the spectator booth, in the commentary booth, rather than out there on the track ourselves. In particular, I'm quite a fan of that sector 3, when it not necessarily when it comes to racing, but in terms of a spectacle, seeing cars go through there. Lots of blind corners, lots of difficulty, and as well that turn 16, that Panasonic corner, that also is a completely blind hairpin. That's very interesting.
And so crucial, because it just leads on to that mammoth start-finish straight this track is just world-renowned for. And you need to get a good exit if you're the car in front. If you're the car behind, you can get away with a bit of a back exit because you've got such a long run to the start-finish line, let alone down to turn 1. But more about that in a minute, because let's just bit of housekeeping right now. Let's go through the championship standings before we get engrossed into the excitement that's going to happen today. Qualifying ongoing in the background right now. Spec 1, well, business as usual. Marco Pinero leads the way. Nearly 90 points the difference over Jason Green. Megan Overstreet, the winner earlier on from Alton Park in the Formula Fords. She's currently lying 3rd in the championship for the SRFs. Kane Lasky, he had a disaster early on, looking for a bit of redemption. Lies 4th. There's Andrea Gould, Maya, Dante Sandalo, and Jesus Rodriguez to round out your top 10. Let's move across into Spec 2s right now, and that is Ken Batley leading the way. He's been just absolutely astronomical, and unbeatable at times in Spec 2. Alan McCain has lost the lead. Had it previously after what was a decent race at last time out at Lime Rock Park. He's second. Then it's Phil Berry in third. Gibson fourth. Then it's pretty close with Hit Justice, only 1 point behind. 8 points behind him is Wubka. Then Vaglini, Jackson, Vogel, and Van der Veen running out that top 10, crossing to Masters. And wow, this has been so competitive, and I think pound for pound, arguably the best championship that we've got this season. Gradwell, Mitchell, Marnie, Cathcart, Brewster, pretty much all still right on top of one another. Antonio Rice, don't discredit him, he's still winning the shouts. That's our top 6, with a spread of less than 70 points between them. Fascinating. That one's going to go all the way to the right. After tonight, we'll be just over the halfway mark of the season. Gianni Logan, he's 7th. There's Bradshaw, Nunes, and Warbolt to round out that top 10 there. Getting stuck into today, though. Qualifying ongoing. Open qualifying as always. 20 minutes. And we are, well, how far are we for it? Not too far in, but it's Marco Pinero who leads the way there. Did we expect any different, realistically?
Perhaps not. There he is there with a 51.6, 1/10 of a second ahead of Campbell in second spot. I would have been interested to see how Georg Marnie gets along today, though straight away I don't see him in our drivers list. And now I'm starting to think, I do recall Georg actually telling us last week that he wouldn't be here this week, so I'm afraid to say I don't think he's going to be doing himself many favours championship-wide. I believe he believe he may be on holiday. If he suddenly pops up on the track, then you can completely ignore what I'm saying right now. But wishing you all the best. We'll hope to see him next week. So all Spec 1 top 5. Look at Kramer though in 6th, Tim, 52.5. He's a Spec 2 driver, and he's very, very high. It's not really usual that we see our Spec 2s ahead of the Master drivers, but indeed today, that is how it is right now. Trenton Kramer, haven't seen that name too much in this series before. He is making a name for himself in this one.
He is indeed, and ran very well earlier on in the Spec 2s. In fact, he picked up 3rd place after a really up-down roundabout terminus race, so great to see him up there. And well, he's going to be one driver, I think, a bit of a dark horse, one to watch out for in these SRFs here from Fuji. And well, Berry and McCain going to run out the top 3 in qualifying, their 9th and 11th overall. But equally, the Masters struggling. Murakami top of the pile there, but he's all the way down in 12th. 6th row, Gradwell. 7th row of the grid in 14th. Nunes, Brewster behind him. So definitely struggling with the track. I think it's just going to be all about that breakaway group of maybe even, dare I say it, top 5 or 6, maybe 7 at a push. But that's based on what we're seeing in qualifying. I mean, even then, realistically, could be even less than that.
Jeff Jacobson on your screen right now, that 212 car, 23rd at the moment, 153.7. That is another remarkable thing for me about this championship. 2 seconds off and you're 23rd. I've seen some championships, but that would still yield you somewhere in the top 15. Also keeping an eye in the last 4 minutes of this session, Campbell's going out for what we would assume would be his final couple of laps of the day. Pinero, he is already on the track. Weisschlusel is in 3rd. He is also on an outlap, as in fact, I see an absolute load of drivers. One driver off the track, that's Jeff Fritscher, but it'll be his qualifying. Not quite over just yet. He'll be able to get back out in due course, but an absolute load of drivers at pit exit on their outlaps.
They are, needs to get it done, needs to get out early. It's a long old lap, isn't it? You're looking at, well, even the best lap we've had so far, 151.63, set by Marco Pinero. And well, a good 10th clear of Aidan Campbell. Great to see him back. I haven't seen in a little while, as there it goes. Pinero down the start-finish straight, just getting that slipstream. Murakami just behind him as well, getting plenty of that too. But that's so crucial for setting up your lap, and for Vini just really helping out his teammate there just to catapult him down the start-finish straight. Start that lap up. Oh, well, it's all gone wrong. Well, that's going to be a time deleted, but thanks to this format, of course, if you get across the line before the checkered flag comes out, you get to complete your lap. But Favini is bailing on, so Panero even is bailing on that lap and will go again once more. Let's just try to see who's improving out there. It's not too many of them, but then it's what we seem to experience in Weekend Warriors. It just dies off qualifying towards them. They peak too soon for our enjoyment, really, Tom.
Yeah, absolutely. Yurwani, hello. Welcome to the YouTube chat. Proving my point that he isn't on the grid. I wasn't going mad. He's watching along. Hello, York. Masters are not struggling. They're just hiding their potential. Well, maybe. Jim Brewster at the moment on pole position in the Masters, holding on to it with a 52.9. Only by just over 500th of a second, 52,000th in other terms. This is Paul Jackson. He's making his way around Sector 1 right now. 2 minutes left in the session. On current lap times, that should be enough for any drivers who are leaving the pits now. Need to leave very quickly. Go and get themselves another lap. Look at Dan Wood. He's going to get a little bit of slipstream from the 917 car as he goes down into turn 1. That'll give him a helping hand as he goes out on his quest up the order a little bit. I think a top 10 he'll be aiming for now. But he makes a little bit of a mess of turn 1 and in fact backs out of the laps that is his, qualifying over and done with. Weissschlusel timing it perfectly. He is on an out lap. He's going to make the finish just in time for the checkered flag. That will be good for him, as will Kane J. Lasky, who gets a chance to set himself off on a flyer. Panero, he's out of the session, Tim, into the pit lane. So it's Campbell, Weissschlusel and Lasky really in pursuit of improvements that could see them go pole position.
Also into the pits and won't be improving are Kramer and Overstreet, Wood, Gansabol. Excuse me, one of the new drivers to the series. Great to see new faces in here, as always. And Jason Green, well, he's a driver who needs to dig something deep here from Fuji, although I think that might be him running a bit wide there by the line that he seems to be on. There's another driver, maybe struggling a little bit, but Mr. Consistent is the Aussie, Tom Gradwell. And I always wonder, it's got to get, I think, because obviously it's got to be Monday morning for him. I'm pretty sure Tom is actually based in Australia, so I think he gets up, does this race, and then goes to work.
It takes me back to my days of getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning to commentate on American time zone races. I say my days a few months ago, but not easy, I can tell you that for a fact, and he'll probably be feeling that at some point, unless he is just a early morning riser. I can tell you for a fact I'm not an early morning riser, Tim, so it's always a little bit difficult for me. But well, Tom Gradwell, he's running well in 15th position. I'm sure getting himself a nice night's sleep in, because you're not running 15th position in this league if you're on no sleep.
That is for certain. That is definitely for certain. And well, that's Gradwell done. And well, improved in terms of time, not in terms of position. 152.97 for the Aussie. He remains 15th, third in class right now. A bit of a disappointing qualifying for Evandro Dantas. He's looking like he's going to start 12th position, but he's still completing his lap right now as the Brazilian, so still chance for him to improve right at the depth. Did go faster last time around with 152.8 for him. So let's see what he's got left in the bag. Well, even if he's got enough fuel, that's a bit of a shout. Campbell, he's across line. He's done and dusted now. Is Aidan Campbell, so he will realistically look like he's going to start from second. It's just looking at who else is going to be on completing a lap. I think Gradwell, no, he got across the line too late. Scarley in 18th, he's rounding out his lap, although he's heading into the pit, so he's done and dusted. Ken Batley down in 23rd, he's going to complete his. So Stephen Mitchell possibly, no, he won't. He's he came across the same time as Gradwell, and there you go. That proves that point. Is those two have a bit of a rub and bang of doors and body work once more. So getting done that way. So there's Ken Batley across the line, and no improvement from him on that lap. Evandro Dantas will be the last one across, and no improvement there either. So that's pretty much our grid done and dusted.
Grid done and dusted indeed. Ken Batley is, yes, obviously he's not really going to be able to set another lap. This is Gary Robolt. He has got one last shot at it as he goes down the very long pit straight here to the Fuji Speedway, and it's a bit of a slow crawl actually in these relatively low top speed spec racer Ford. He gets himself only up into 32nd position. Actually, that is back of the grid. It'll start second from last as Bruno Conti has been unable to set a lap time throughout the course of the session. So we'll have your starting grid / session results come up in just a moment's time. I was sort of stalling, hoping that we'd get them up, but obviously we're just waiting for the session to tick over. Tim, a fantastic qualifying session. We've got one more car on track. That is why I believe that might be our friend Ken Bately.
They've got nearly done there, Tom. You nearly carried it the whole way. We've got 10 seconds left before it rolls over into the next session official right now. And you bring up those qualifying results. But, as usual, no great improvements late on. No different. There's going to be a little flicker any second now as we roll across into the race. There we go. There it is. There it is. Porsche 911 safety car magically appears out on track. And here is your grid. Marco Pinheiro on pole. Once again, Aidan Campbell joins him on the front row. Fleischusel and Lasky make up row 2 for another European American row. Row 3 is Jason Green. Your top qualifier in Spec 1 is Trenton Kramer. Overstreet winner in the Formula Fords earlier on. Lines up alongside Alan McCain. Chris Murakami, top qualifier in Masters, starts 9th alongside Bradford Gould in 10th.
As we'll have a moment, Phil Perry starts in 11th, just confirming that. Evandro Dantas alongside him on row 6. And it's Jim Brewster and Dan Wood making up row 7. Tom Cradwell and Joseph G. Ganswebel is in 16th. Kurt Nunes and Fabio Scali on row 9. Then it's Brad Cathcart and Andrea Favini rounding out your top 20.
And row 11 sees Josh Justice and Jeff Jacobson likes to one another. Ken Batley and Jenny Longin make up row 12. I had to think about that one. Then row 13, unlucky for some, hopefully not for Jeff Richard and Stephen Mitchell. Jeff Wilker and Paul Jackson make up row 14 with Charlie Vicaro line up alongside Mike Newton to make up row 15 and his top 30.
Then in 31st is Bob Curtin and Gary Volbolt rounds out the grid in 32nd. Bruno Conti will start just behind him on a row all on his own. He was not able to set a lap time in qualifying.
Well, Conti, I did spot Tom, didn't even head out for a lap. Maybe, just start from the back, see where you come. Although he hasn't headed to the grid, so I don't. Yeah, he's missed the start, so I'm not sure we're going to be seeing Bruno Conti. But they head to the grid. Let's have a bit of a mention. We've got 2 series sponsors for this championship, and well, thank you very much to them. But first off, let's kick things off with RaceVoice, of course, long-time sponsor. And if you're looking for a simple way to transform complicated performance data into easy-to-understand notifications and alerts, then they are the guys to turn to. With over 16 different notifications, including up and down shift, over-rev alerts, corner entry, turn-in and exit speeds, it provides immediate feedback on driver and vehicle performance. You find out more by heading across to racevoice.com. And second, we've got Apex Racing Academy with 29 data packs for road and oval racing. SRF being one of them, and one of their drivers being a successful member of this championship previously, Jamie Fluke. We have setups, track guides, integration with virtual racing school. We also have weekly group coaching sessions and individual sessions available. Make sure you check out Apex Racing Academy. We've got a long wait now to get to the start-finish line. It's great for the race finish because it's that long run, still not all done and dusted coming out the final corner. As Panera just backing up the pack, Porsche 911 safety car heads in. And just this long wait. When does he go? Well, he's going early as let's get ready to go racing from Fuji as we are green. We are go round 6 of the SRF Weekend Warriors, and already it's starting, and already we're making a free wide on the run down to turn 1 as Lasky tries to get the jump. Campbell there on driver's left getting a poor start. Did drop 2 places, but there's a field compresses up right now. They head down into turn 1. Will they all make it through? Well, I think they might just well have done, Tom.
It's 3 wide in the background as well. That's a 212 car getting the better of that. That is McCain. Kramer loses out on at the top spot early on. Murakami is looking around the outside, not quite able to find his way through. Car all the way onto the track. And we've got another car all the way off the racetrack, I should say. We've got another car trying to get up the inside. So Kramer loses that spot to Murakami. Now almost on to the grass is Dantas. That's one of our Spec 1 drivers right there. Murakami doing incredible work for his Masters win chances at the moment. His nearest competitor is Jim Brewster down in 13th spot. But as they make their way around Sector 2 of this very long Fuji circuit, I can now see Dan Wood looking to make up spots.
Getting it done. Well, attempted to right now is Wood onto the brakes, and bit of a kerfuffle happening behind them. Nunes involved in that one, just trying to get around. Few drivers still 2 by 2, Cathcart and Scarley, and then Jacobson, who's just sneaking his way through. Favini right in the mix there. He's got Justice tucked up right behind him, with Fritcher trying to find the fastest lane, but still side by side at the front of them is Cathcart versus Jacobson, and Cathcart just winning out that battle initially. They're still all amazingly just can't sort themselves out, all still 2 by 2, nearly 3 wide. In fact, they are 3 wide on the exit, and as they head down the start-finish straight for the first time under racing conditions, they're definitely 3 wide. Justice in the middle. Favini's got the best view in the house right now at Fisher, Justice and Scarley side by side. And what is Favini going to do? The Swede is going to pick up the slipstream. You can see him catching. Is he going to make this 4 wide? Oh, maybe not, as they all bang wheels. Here comes Favini. Oh, he's done the wise thing. He's backed out of it. He doesn't make it a 4 wide. Justice, I think, the big loser out of that one, just backing out early. Not going to be the last of the late breakers.
Actually, very tidy move for Favini as he got the sweep around the outside and was able to get a spot out of it. So that was a good game of patience, but still, all of these cars just streaming through as they go up into what is turn 3 of this racetrack. Interestingly as well, every single corner, barring 7 and 8 on this track, are actually named. Here goes Joshua Justice looking around the outside. He's going to get all the way onto what would be the marbles if this were a real racetrack and not a simulator. And he might find himself losing a position here. He won't. He's able to just about hold on to the spot. It's Knutson just behind him. This is a battle, by the way, that stems all the way from pretty much 20th position and goes all the way back to the back of the field. And 32nd, you can see all of these drivers. And this is actually, as I said, the back of the field. So pretty much a huge, huge train. 399 goes over the curb. We're switching back to the battle for the lead because Marco Pinero has got a 1 second gap to the car behind. However, that car behind is finding himself under a lot of pressure from Weissschlusel, and that'll be interesting as they go down the pitch straight. Here we go.
They might be wise to bump draft this one out to try and keep everyone together and prevent Pinero getting away from them. But will that happen? Well, doing this lot, probably not. Trenton Kramer had a poor start, started 6th, 3rd row of the grid, now down to 10th. That is Dantas in front of him, who's had polar opposite fortunes. He's at 3 places. Kramer backs out of it, but elects to... And I do wonder how many of them are going to try and play the fuel-saving game here. I do wonder, Tom, because Pinero just sets the new fastest lap of the race. First driver to get into the 151s with the 151.8. In fact, that was 3 times quicker than anyone else on track, with 152.10 being set by Lasky, who's currently in 2nd. That's the next best time. But yeah, I get a feeling maybe there might be quite a lot of them playing the fuel-saving game here. That breakaway group, I wonder if it might be 5, 6 or 7 of them. Well, in fact, actually, it's 11. Just 11.
Just a couple then. There's only 7/10 of a second in the lead. That'll get tasty over the next lap if Lasky is able to pull that gap a little bit closer. But as we see here, there is going to be side-by-side action for the podium. It is Campbell looking at Weissschlusel. He's not quite able to get through just yet as they go through into the relatively heavy braking zones. Weissschlusel's off the circuit. That'll give Campbell a great opportunity to go around the outside. He's not quite able to pull alongside in this part of the circuit. Well, it's very difficult to pass indeed. You'd have to chuck one down the inside, and then that's all lucky if you can even see the apex. But Weissschlusel makes a mistake, and Campbell is going to sail on through as they go down into what I believe this part of the track should be your turn 16 hairpin. It is. That is Campbell getting through on Weissschlusel. Will we see a 3-wide bit of action? We might just do, as Campbell comes under pressure from Weissschlusel, and Green, who tries to make it 3-wide, will make it 3-wide. It's only 4 attempts at the lead of the race as well as they go yet to even get across the starting line. Weissschlusel gets his nose ahead, Green gets his nose ahead, and Megan Overstreet is getting there to looking to make it 4 wide. She will almost make it 4 wide. It's technically 4 wide as they go down into turn 1. Campbell cuts across Weisschlusel. Weisschlusel cuts across Campbell. He'll try and get ahead into the corner. He does, but now he spins and he makes contact with Overstreet. There's a spinner in the background as well.
That's McCain around her in background there. Oh, what a shame.
That's a huge shame, because that was just essentially his own mistake that has cost him and cost Overstreet as well.
She might be ruining not making it 4 wide official now, Tom, by squeezing up the inside. At the pace and momentum. But Weisschlusel just lost the rear, didn't he? Just all by himself. Oh, Campbell, how lucky was he not to be taken out with Overstreet? Frighteningly close.
Incredibly lucky. And, well, that is a really, really frustrating moment for him. And Weisschlusel, as I said, only really has himself to blame. It's a simple mistake to go onto the AstroTurf there, and it just sends that car around. That's exactly what's happened to him.
Spinner ahead.
We have got a spinner ahead. And it's your 14th place car. It is the 28, as there's a car in the background as well. Dantas, I'm hearing in my ear. Ganzebel has retired. He is out of the race, or at least into the pits, where he'll re-emerge for our next 33 minutes or so. We're yet to see. Jacobson gets past Wood as well. That's for 15th position. Here is a replay of what happened. We're seeing Ganzebel in the 146. He looks at the outside line. Think there might be contact under brakes. There is contact under brakes. That sends a car flying. Ganzebel gets seconds. And, well, that is no surprise that he comes into the pits and presumably calls it a day.
Well, it's Brewster who made contact with him. That's going for Brewster. His championship aspirations in terms of Masters. But there's Overstreet getting the move done on McCain. Both these two caught up in that drama last time around at turn 1. So she up into 12th now. Kurt Nunes just in front of them. In fact, Gradwell just in front of them as well. So, bit of a lock up there from the 28. They all managed to sort themselves out just about. That was Dan Wood getting all out of shape there. Bit of a. I tell you, it's really, really challenging for the drivers, it seems today. Quite often struggling with turn 1 when they make it, more than 2 wide. Just having a little look. Track temperatures, and this probably playing a large part of it, 44 degrees Celsius. That's Fahrenheit, round about just shy of the 100 mark. So I think that's why the drivers is maybe experiencing a lack of grip out there during racing conditions.
This battle's getting very interesting, as Pinero, after breaking away early in this race, has not quite been able to hold on to it as they go through turn 14. This will be turn 13, rather. And we'll see if there is anything that Kane J. Lasky can do. They'll go now through turn 15, then it's the Panasonic hairpin, and surely Kane J. Lasky is rubbing his hands together thinking, I can get the lead of the race at this early stage, if indeed he chooses to do so, because fuel saving strategy is so important in these spec racer Fords. Let's wait and see as they apply the throttle down the pit straight once again. You have to, you can make yourself a cup of tea as you go down here in these cars, as Lasky is in the slipstream. He's getting very, very close indeed, and it's going to be telling whether he dives one up the inside or indeed even chooses to draw alongside. They've got a nice little breakaway of about 2.3 seconds as they go down into turn 1, and by the looks of things, by the fact that he is now losing time, I think Kane J. Lasky has got a very clear plan for this race. Murakami, by the way, just made 2 passes in 1.
Trying to look into the background there. Oh! How loose and Larry was Aidan Campbell getting on the exit of 1 there. Well, after qualifying so strongly on the front row, now finds himself all the way down in 5th, and what is he, 3 seconds, maybe more behind our leader right now. So real disappointment for him and how his race has played out so far today. In fact, it's about 3.5 seconds that Campbell is behind Pinero. As one of the drivers just heading into the pits there, the alarm going off. That would have been probably Paul Jackson heading in there. But it's turning out to be a bit of a war attrition here, isn't it? And those incidents that have happened near the front have really spaced everyone out, except for our top 2. And then, well, equally, Green and Murakami still very close, and Campbell all in with a shout here. So it's whether these 3 can close up to the top 2. But based on the pace that Green has right now, I'm not too sure, Tom, if he's going to manage it, because last time around, exactly the same pace as those drivers in front of him. But they are coming up on the back marker I've just seen. Is that going to hold them up enough coming through this tricky part of the circuit for these guys to catch up? I think it could be potentially... Oh, no, they're just going to catch him maybe at the wrong point for it to have a major effect. And I'm trying to spot who that is. I think it might be Fafini in front of them.
Well, that's interesting. Down the straight, they'll catch them. And I wonder now if Panera's going to just nick a little bit of this slipstream and stick in and do it under the brakes so that he avoids having to cut that hole in the air for a little bit. He doesn't. And indeed, the back marker goes over to the right-hand side and allows him through. So that's sensible stuff. Lasky thinks about a move for the lead. I don't think that was literally he was thinking and sizing up a move. I think he's playing a few mind games here. I am here. Just knock on the door. Just remind them. I'm not wanting to go for the move yet, but I could if I wanted to. It sounds silly. Oh dear, never mind how it sounds silly. That looks silly as Megan Overstreet gets tapped in the back by Alan McCain and almost goes round, does go round. And her horrible experience of turn 1 continues. And Alan McCain is the culprit on this occasion, I believe. We'll watch the replay. As you see there in the background, it's the 909 car. Is that McCain? No, it's not. I apologise to Alan. It's Tom Gradwell.
Oh, it was all just getting a bit tight there, wasn't it? And close for comfort. And yet again, over the street. Well, the benefactor of all the incident and spilling out onto the track and spinning out. Such a shame for her because it was looking incredibly strong for that incident we had early on involving Weisslusel. He just lost it on the exit of the corner and careered back across the track. Meanwhile, in front of them, Trent and Kramer now to the front of this group. McCain right up behind him. Then it's Nunes, Fritcher, and Scarlett onto the back of these. Jess Jacobson in the fight too. And this is, well, almost becoming that sort of like the battle for the best. The rest is Trent and Kramer bounces across the sausage curbs there.
And he's just looking a bit unhappy in that car at the moment. It's a bit of understeer out of that corner as well, but he's holding on to Alan McCain at the moment. McCain is after that second spot in our Spec 2 classification as they almost make it too wide as they go now down the straight. Let's see if we're going to get more 3 wide, 4 wide action maybe as Campbell is getting past Green for the lead. Lasky, I think, is sorry, for third position, and then Lasky is staying 0.3 of a second behind Panera. There you can see the 43 car going down the inside. Alan McCain is looking for that second spot. Alan McCain is going to fly down the inside line as the 43 looks to make it 3 wide. Alan McCain gets late on the brakes, gets himself through to second position as it following him through is Fritcher in that 43. He now officially gets past Kramer, but Kramer still on that inside line trying to get that spot back, knowing it's important for his battle with McCain. And he does.
Nunes tucking in behind them. Now advantage McCain at the front of this group. Let's this nip and tuck and as close as you would like. Well, I say that. There's Fritcher having a bit of look at Nunes. They're nearly into the back of Fritcher after he was having a good look at Kramer. I do wonder, is everything okay for Kramer right now? Seems to be struggling after that great start and was falling through the order, and well, now he's well, I say that right. Fritcher is all over the back of him, and everyone seems to be queuing up to have a go at him right now. And McCain already pulled out a second on these group.
And that is the power of battling. Genuinely, as these guys have just been battling that little bit, and McCain has been able to put his foot down, get his head down, and get through, and that is really just how important it is to get a breakaway, and we'll see how that breakaway develops. They're going to hit some traffic that could come back to actually fall against his favour. This is the 40 car of Jeff Jacobson, got a good view of everything happening ahead, and I'm sure we'll be thinking about how he can scythe his way through this part of the field. Scarlett, Gradwell, Nunes, Fritcher, Kramer and McCain is the pack, and Jacobson maybe just not getting that straight line speed. Look at this, he's losing time to them as they're 3 wide, 2 wide actually up ahead. There's bumping and weaving as the 43 is able to get himself and stay ahead of Kramer. On the brakes goes Jacobson very early indeed, almost going into the back of the 24 car, all controlled. That's just how quick the closing speed is when you're hard on the brakes. Still, though, I want to turn your attention to the lead of the race. It's still 0.2 of a second. KJ Lasky, 15 minutes into the race, does not want to attack yet. He's in that 16 car, and sorry, he's in that 09 car, and he seems to have this in hand. In a weird way, he's not in the lead of the race, but he's controlling the race, if that makes any sense. He can attack whenever he wants.
Makes complete and utter sense, and the longer that he isn't attacking, and he's remaining this close, I mean, Panero, he'll be mopping up all this pressure. It doesn't faze him whatsoever, but he's just allowing Flasky to play the fuel save card. Panero knows that right now. And what is he going to be able to do to negate that fact? I'm not sure he's... Bar Lasky getting ahead of him, I don't think he's got an answer to it whatsoever. Well, something's happened to Murakami because he has... Oh, and something happened to Elliot, and Campbell's falling through the list too. And now he's out. Oh, something big has happened further down through the field. But I think we're going to listen in now to Lasky. And just exactly, well, here we go. Here's the replay of what happened. So there's Campbell behind Green. Come on to the brakes. Where is Murakami involved in all this? So he's behind. So who loses it first? I'm guessing it must be Campbell. As they head round into the complex around the back of the circuit, 12, 13. Oh, catches the sausage curve. Round he goes, and Murakami nowhere to go. Makes big contact. Oh, I think that's race ending. Yes, it is. Oh, no. Wow, Campbell, not the best rejoin he's ever had in his life there.
No, not at all. And, well, Kane J. Lasky is still behind Marco Panero, as I said, controlling that race without leading it, which is a skill to have. We have got a few people who've dropped out of the race at this stage. Most of them, obviously, well, towards the back of the field. This is a battle going on then. Tom Gradwell, you're looking at the 909 car. He's trying to eye up Fritscher in the 43. Fritscher himself looking to eye up Kramer. In fact, goes down at the inside, but not quite pulling alongside. And that will play into the favour of your second place car in the Spec 1s. Alan McCain still leads. He's having, well, fantastic progress after winning last week in the Spec 2s, if I'm not mistaken, if I've remembered that correctly. Jeff Rubka, he's come into the pits. I've just seen that pop up on my events. I'm not too sure whether that is a scheduled stop at this stage in the race. There goes the 43 to the inside line. He's not going to find his way through just yet, and in fact, he will get past Kramer. So there you go.
Kramer just still continuing to struggle with the car in this first half of the race. In fact, we're not far off half race distance. Currently lying at 18 minutes 40 seconds complete right now. And see, who was that heading off into the pit lane? And we'll find out of some exact confirmation. I think it might be, or even was it? I think no, because it was too early in the pit lane. Is it Gradwell going to dip it? No, Gradwell is definitely going to dip in. I think that's Jess Jacobson. Yes, it is. Coming along for the ride with him. So if they bail early. Meanwhile, Fritscher trying to get the move done here on Kramer, who's just falling further and further back. Well, since McCain got past him, well, he's opened up a 2-second gap over Kramer. Absolutely flying is McCain right now. But these lot are still side by side. They're still all going for it. Oh, they thought they were going to make it free wide there. As here comes Kurt Nunes to storm through, or is he? Just almost just nearly wants to get it done, but plays the safety game. Backs out of it, gets on the brakes through Coca-Cola. As they head through the long swooping right-hander. He has got up a place. And he's now ahead of Scarley and Fritscher. Well, he's ahead of Fritscher because Scarley got the move done on Fritscher there.
Fritscher's having such a weird race, isn't he? Because he seems to be in this pack, but he's bumping up and down positions and struggling to read how he's going here. As we just hit half distance. It's just a weird race, isn't it?
It is. There's a few. As a whole, it's been a weird race. I mean, other than these two, they've been the constant. Panero a little bit slow off the corner exit there. Ran it in a bit deep. A mistake from him. Lasky now 2 tenths away. But before we've even got there, Tom, I know what's going to happen. He's just going to ease off the throttle and make Marco Panero do all the work here. allow him to drag him along. He's going to fuel save around this one. And this is Think Panero can do nothing about this whatsoever. And the 4 attempts clear. And you hear a bit of an early lift, a bit of a lift and coast from Panero, but it's nowhere near the amount that Lassie's going to be doing. Now, across the line, let's have a bit of a look. Green, he's not catching them. He's not catching them whatsoever. That gap is growing. So he's not even going to come into the equation, but he's got 12 seconds in the bag pretty much to Evandro Dantas, who lies in 4th place. But it's just been a crazy race and a weird race all round. So many gaps up front, something I'm not normally used to seeing.
No, we're not, but we are also on a significantly larger racetrack than what we've been on over the last few weeks. Because,
true.
This is, in fact, the biggest racetrack we've been on, apart from, I don't think we go to Spa, but in fact, we do go to Spa, don't we? I don't think I read that the other day.
Correct. We do. We go at round 10.
That's going to be interesting. There we go. That's going to be interesting, but apart from Spa, this is probably going to be the biggest racetrack we do race on throughout the course of the season. Assuming, that is, that we don't go to anywhere else like the Nordschleife. I don't have the calendar in front of me right now. This is Weiss Schlusel. Another weird race for him after having that spin earlier on. Look at Alan McCain. He's having a battle with Gould in that 197 car. McCain is, well, this is interesting for McCain because he's 5th at the moment, but the second Gould gets past him, suddenly it's Kramer, the next car behind, and that will start to build the pressure because suddenly you make any mistakes and that car is right on your tail. So this will be fought perhaps a little bit harder than you would expect for Alan McCain, who knows he needs that car in between himself and his Spec 2 Challenger. I know that the points are given out overall. However, that win is the win, and I'm sure they'll protect that at all costs.
It's all about the bragging rights at times, isn't it? And Trenton Kramer about to lose another place here as Fabio Scarli, Italian, comes alongside. But did he pull out too soon? Not too sure as they head, there you go, finally across the start-finish line. Well, the finish line. The start line's not further down there. There, that is, as they head underneath the Panasonic gantry. And just behind them, Fritsch's looked pulled out very aggressively. I thought he was going to get the move done on Kurt Nunes. But is he going to pressure Nunes into making a mistake? He runs in a bit too deep. This could allow Fritsche to come back through. Scarli ahead has got ahead of Kramer. That's the Italian up 11 spots now into 7th. Fritsche up 15. He's the joint highest riser with Gary Wolbart, also up 15. Wolbart lying down in 17th, but Nunes eventually holds off to Fritsche. They remain 9th and 10th, respectively, but this four-way battle is definitely not going away anytime soon, I get the feeling, Tom, as we're 23 minutes in, and, well, behind them is a lot of pace, especially with the amount that they're battling. Overstreet and Favini and Fleischusel are the next 3 cars behind these drivers, and I think something's happened to Tom Gradwell.
There has, and he's down into 24th, fighting Jacobson, but not.
Well, I'm going to guess, Tom, he's going to have a half spin at turn 1. Is my prediction. That's Dan Wood ahead of him. He goes for a move. Wood sees it coming. And, well, just runs it in a bit too deep in the end, and that's why he's ended up behind Jeff Jacobson instead of ahead of Dan Wood.
Chris Murakami has gone off of the track. I don't really know where that has happened, but I think we're about to get a view of it as he goes, presumably. I think here he's going to dip a wheel onto the grass. He's not, actually. Instead, he's going to hit the curb, and that's going to send him onto the grass. And the grass on iRacing is really, really awkward. He doesn't go around, though, so that is key for Chris Murakami right there.
He manages to live to fight another day with that one, doesn't he? That's for certain. Wow, this has been... we've had so much happen. It feels like a live to last entire lifetime. 25 minutes complete, though. 15 minutes remaining. So we start thinking about pit strategy now to our drivers. In fact, we've got Fritsche and Dantas into the pit. Our top 16 all yet to stop so far. Of drivers that have pitted. Who is leading? Well, it's Chris Murakami, who stopped on lap 9. They're currently on lap 13, so that's nothing to worry about. There's Lasky still sitting behind Panero, and Green Well, he's definitely not catching. In fact, Green lost a whole heap of time on the last lap, Tom. He was a second slower than these guys, so he's clearly had a bit of a Code Brown moment, a bit of a twitch there somewhere around the track for him to lose all of that time. But this one, as you said earlier, Tom, I think you called it so right. Lasky is in control. Oh. Wow. I mean, I don't know. Camera angles can be deceptive, but Pinheiro running it in so deep. And that's the second time that we've witnessed, let alone what we haven't witnessed him do, coming through Panasonic.
Lasky maybe with a chance now. I think he'll maybe choose this as the moment as we approach that pit stop window. Maybe he sends it down the inside on this occasion. No, he's being smart. He's being smart. It's KJ Lasky. And it takes so much patience. I was in an official race, Tim, trying to get my oval licenses up because I haven't done a lot of it the other day. As we see Bradford Gould now looking at Alan McCain. This is for 4th position now. And I did basically what Lasky was doing on an oval where he sit behind for 20 laps or so, just waiting for the chance to make the move. And it takes so much patience because every bit of you is almost into the wall there. Is Bradford Gould. Every bit of you just wants to send one up the inside.
It does. It's maintaining that concentration, that patience as Josh Justice runs really wide there. Allows the damaged Vice Luzor through. Jim Brewster coming through. Cesar Brewster has had really, wow, so much turmoil this race. Amazingly, he's second in class, although what a few Masters drivers have stopped so far, but I think he's going to be at least third in class after that all sorts itself out. Really, it's only Murakami who's 5th in class, 16th overall, that really is going to affect that. So Brewster, despite getting caught up in bits and a bit of damage to the rear of his spec racer Ford, still well within a shot of a podium in class here. Here we go. So they're coming around same corner. Pinheiro, so it's definitely a mistake. I don't know whether this is mind games from Marco Pinheiro. Here's my 2 penneth worth, my conspiracy theory on it, Tom, and see what you think. He's deliberately running it in deep to give it so much of an exit because he knows he's in trouble from the amount of fuel saving that Lasky's done in the hope that Lasky will go, oh yeah, okay, thanks very much, I'll have that place, and then Pinheiro can sit behind Lasky and try and fuel save and try and get back some of that advantage that Lasky has built up across the last 16 laps, 28 minutes.
If I hadn't have driven that hairpin, Tim, I would totally agree with you. But at least in the LMP2 car I was driving at the time, that is impossible to see your apex, and practically it's impossible to find. So I would actually fully believe that Marco Pinheiro is just missing the apex there because it is that difficult as such a blind corner, and he's just making up the time he loses throughout the rest of the track at this stage in the race as well. 28 minutes. You've only got 12 minutes to go. It's very tricky. But obviously he knows that at this stage, maybe he doesn't have to put in as little fuel as Lasky anyway, because there's just so little time left. Megan Overstreet, by the way, absolutely fantastic drive. She was 17th, 18th after that spin. Almost, well, did have a second spin and is now all the way back up into 10th. Pit stops pending, of course. She's able to get this 9th position and go on to finish in the top 10. That is probably, quietly, drive of the day.
That's a really good shout, that one. I mean, you've got Gary Walbot. He's up 18 places. That's another one in for the shout. Someone we haven't really mentioned, but Gary's yet to stop, so he's going to lose a few of those 18 places for a while. Fabio Scali on for, I think, quite possibly one of his best ever finishes in class. Certainly overall, lying 6th overall, 12th, up 12 places, 2nd in Spec 2 right now, it's the 24. Just on board with Lasky. And well, there you go. There's your answer. Pinheiro, is he faking this one? No, he's going in, and Lasky follows him into. This is where we get to find out, Tom, who's going to emerge out victorious. Who's going to win this one potentially? Green goes again. And wow, Lasky with that splash and dash, but has he done it right? Should he have carried on and banked that extra fuel saving, knowing that because if Pinheiro comes out just behind him, then he's the car he would want to get away from. I'm not sure this is the best strategy call from Lasky. Ascali, Kramer, and Nunez all in as well.
He goes a lap extra, though. Then he's got to put more fuel in than he would do right now. Whereas so the stop time is longer. So he's basically banking on being able to make that overcut work and being faster on that lap.
It's not.
Oh, he's slow. He's slow. Pinero's out. So what has Kane J. Lasky done? Has he accidentally taken tyres? He put too much fuel in. But the race that Kane J. Lasky was arguably controlling from second spot is absolutely falling away from him.
He sped in the pits on entry because we're coming up to that 40-second mark. If he gets going any second now, and that's what it'll be. So
he did brake very, very late into the pits. And the call to come into the pits was very, very, very late as well.
So he didn't miss his box. I think, Tom, that he has blown it for himself. Yeah, he stopped for 50 seconds. That says to me, penalty. Here we go. This will confirm it. Producer Lewis on the mark once again with the replays.
Oh, absolutely. It's a big speed as well. It's a big speed. And iRacing, when you're... These cars, I don't believe, have pit limiters. If not, then this is a bit of a silly point to make. But it gives you a bit of leeway, doesn't it? In terms of if you go 1 kilometer over, as long as you're not sustaining it, it's usually okay. Whereas if you're speeding that big, then yeah, it's bad. This is green into the pits. Pinero, he's going to stroll to another victory here.
And it's so frustrating because Lasky didn't need to do it. He could have been massively over-conservative. And he would have won this one. Surely McCain in as well. Vice Luzal, Brewster, Justice all in the pit lane. This was, what, 7.5 minutes remaining here from Fuji. And it's, well, Gould and Favini. I talk about fuel economy. These boys going in deeper than we've ever been before, I think, here at Weekend Warriors. Wow, that's amazing from these two. So they're going to, by the time they come in, there's only going to be about 5 minutes left of this race. That is astounding. As there's Gould just getting a move done. I think that's on Jenny Longin. Yes, it is. So one of the back markers. Wow. So what does that mean? Lasky, he's come out behind... It's behind Kramer and Brewster and Justice, that little battle that was going on. Well behind it, in fact, because they're not even in camera shot, Tom. So, they just show for the sake of just being a little bit more patient. There's Jim Brewster coming out. Lasky has destroyed his own race. So gutted for him.
Well, I'm gutted for him, but at the end of the day, rules are rules, and that is one of them. That, in fairness, you know, to I think fairly criticise him. You know that is when you're fighting for a win. That is the one thing you know to do. Be cautious as you go into pit lane. There is no need to attack Bradford Gould. Is slow. Has he run out of fuel or is he spun? I see a puff of smoke. I see a puff of smoke at turn 16. So indeed, I think you're right there that he's spun, and they're going to have a race down into pit lane between the 27 and the 109. This is a bit more 197, I should say. This is a bit more conservatively driven from Bradford Gould, I have to say. And after technically leading the race, he spins at turn 16, but the net result of that seems to be not a great deal.
Yeah, Favini, all of his Christmases came at once there as Gould is... He's got to have just lost it all by himself, hasn't he? Here, just loops the rear end. I'm guessing coming out of Panasonic, as you've alluded to many a time, Tom. Oh, that half spin and held it well, but just lost all that time. In doing so, as you alluded to numerous times, Tom, that blind entry is costing him dearly and just getting out of shape. Well, hold on. If things work out as they are, we're going to have a Spec 2 driver on the podium overall in the form of Alan McCain. Oh, we love an underdog story, don't we? And that's, McCain has 5 minutes to hold on to this one.
He does. And I'd say that I have nightmares about the apex of turn 16, but I don't even know what it looks like, so I can't physically have nightmares about it. But Alan McCain is really on good form, isn't he? He took him a couple of rounds to get that win, and he did in that last round, and he's just not looked back since. He's always looked competitive. In fact, he's looked the class of that field. but he still is just looking like he's the class of that Spec 2 field. And in fact, he would be doing a job in Spec 1.
He could do, based on today. I mean, McCain really just absolutely everything's just come together for him. There's been a few incidents in front of him, but even so, he's just driven a flawless race, and he's kept it together when others haven't, but still has 4 minutes left on the clock remaining to bring this one home. Poor. Dig deep, Alan. Dig deep and get this one done for us. So there's Kramer. Well, I'll tell you what, excuse me, Tom, that lot had that big battle before the pits, and they've come back out. They're having it again, but this time, Vice-Lucial and Overstreet, who I pre-warned about, you know, that was going to get involved in this battle if they kept battling. Well, guess what? They have, and they're now at the lead of it, leading Kramer, Brewster, just lacking a bit, and you know, at the back of this group, you see Kramer right at the tail end, and Vice-Lucial punching a hole in the air for everyone. Goes shallow. I think that's going to allow Bradford Gould alongside him through. Oh, Vice-Lucial into the pits.
Oh, that's interesting. Overstreet for 10th. And at this stage in the race, that is 4/10th. After all of that difficulty earlier on into the race, the top 10 looks like it's heading the way of the number 44 machine. And, well, here is Vice-Lucial, potentially a drive-through. We'll wait and see how that is going to develop. He's turning in very late if his pit box is indeed soon. So I think this is a drive-through penalty for Vice-Lucial. That makes sense. That's going to ruin his race down into 18th position, maybe. Battle for 7th. This is Tom Gradwell in 7th at the moment. Jacobson is looking to get alongside him. We are well and truly in the closing phases of this one right now, and there's still plenty of battles going on all the way throughout this order. And I actually hasten to say that perhaps the battle, as KJ Lasky looks to go up the inside of Brewster, perhaps that battle for the lead could develop. Panero is losing a fair bit of time.
The sickening thing is, he's even been in the YouTube chat chatting away to Jorg Marnie while leading this race. A bit of a mention as well, Aidan Campbell's just being done for a drive-through as well. The driver that started on the front row with the driver that you can see on the screen right now, Marco Panero, all the way down in 24th, not the afternoon he would have been hoping for. Even the car just in front of him, that's Chris Murakami. He's down 14 spots. So you either gain big or you've lost big here, and there's no middle ground whatsoever. In fact, the only car that's still on the lap in the position they started in, that's Charlie Vicario in 29th, but he is 5 laps down, maybe 6. So that's Green right on top of Panero. Where's that happened? So Panero has lost about 4 seconds to the last lap, Tom.
He has, and I saw he was going slower. I assumed it was just how the pits works, but how the timing sectors worked. But he is losing a great deal of time, and as we head into the last lap, or was he trying to make sure that the race didn't go another lap? He might have just done it. He might have just done it as well. If it's close, I'm going to say that is the reason, because he's not losing any more time here. I think he knew that he was a couple of seconds short, and he didn't want this race to go an extra lap.
We're not far away from it. Wow, I love the theory, Tom. It is going to be really tight. And if that was the case, has he done enough, Tom, to make it so, to make it happen? He's managed to eke out a couple more times over Green, but as they head through Panasonic, with 15 seconds left on the clock, Tom, I'm not sure he
can lift off. He's got a second in hand, hasn't he? So he can lift off. He's going to do it.
There you go. Checker flags out. It's worked a dream, hasn't it? Marco Panero with the alternate strap, preventing it going another lap, takes the victory here. Green second. Now, all eyes back to Alan McCain to bring it home. The Spec 2 driver on the podium overall, as Wood getting the move done on Scully late on the run to the line. Oh, they almost touch it as Wood heads back across onto the line there. Wow, they're going to be... No, they're not a lap down. Apologies, I thought they were. McCain, that's confirmed. Spec 2 podium overall for his highest finish ever, I believe. And would beat Scarlett at the line. And here comes Overstreet on Favini. Oh, they're already across the line now.
And there's a battle between Justice and Brewster and Mitchell, all of them going there. Brad Cathcart will try and get himself at the line. It's so many drag races in that space of what it might be a drag racing competition. Brad Cathcart will get himself up into 16th position. It's Weisschlusel. He gets past Weisschlusel. My bad. There you go. Cathcart is through. That's incredible. I'm quite impressed that Panero's been able to pull that off in terms of making the race go one less lap. It takes a lot of skill to think that, do it, and then make it work. He could have so easily lost all of that.
And the more depressing thing for us rubbish sim racers, Tom, is that he was chatting to Jorg Marnie in the YouTube chat while doing so.
But that was before, don't worry.
well, even so, I mean, there's nothing this man cannot do. I mean, but you do have to wonder, though, Lasky had it all in control and then just speeding on pit entry when there was no need to, Kane. Oh, so gutting for him, that's for certain. And, well, so we just tick over now. I think everyone across the line, so we bring you up some Class 5 results. Here we go. Marco Panero with the victory. Jason Green, second. McCain, Spec 2 winner and podium overall. Astounding for him. Wood, fourth. Then it's Scarlett and Barry to run out the Spec 2 podium. Of course, Wood, fourth overall, but the Spec 1 podium. Gradwell, you win here in Masters. There's Jacobson for Vini. And Overstreet squeezes inside the top 10, Tom.
Bradford Gould is in 11th, Trenton Kramer in 12th, KJ Lasky 13th, Jim Brewster, Stephen Mitchell and Brad Cathcart through to 16th. Then it's Weisschlusel. Tough day for him. Mike Knutson finishing behind him in your Spec 2 classification. Gary Volbold and Joshua Justice rounding out our top 20.
Nunez, 21st. Then it's Kern and Murakami to make a trio of Masters drivers. Aidan Campbell starting on the front row. Just finishes on the lead lap and all the way down in 24th. Then one lap down was Longin, Whoopker, Batley, Jackson. Vaccaro is then, we're into the retirements now. Charlie Vaccaro, we lost him on lap 15. Dantas on lap 13, so was Fritcher. Ganzerbol, we lost him on lap 3. And of course, Bruno Conti did not make the start. Let's have a bit of a chat to some of our drivers. First up, the win in Spec 2, but on the podium overall, Alan McCain joins us. Alan, I believe, actually, is that your best ever finish in Weekend Warriors?
Yeah, I think you're right for once.
Yeah. I mean, well, it was a bit dodgems out there because that group ahead of you, I think it was all about just staying alive. Well, at least how it looked from the commentary booth.
Yeah, there was something happened. I can't remember whether it was lap 2 or lap 3, turn 1. And then I thought all my hopes were over. I just seen everybody going past. But whenever I looked at the calmed down and looked at the standings, I had only dropped 6 places or something, and I knew the pit stops would be coming up and I would be able to undercut a few of them. So I just took it easy. I just look forward to the pit stops.
And do you think it was more that just was it a bit of a fuel save race as well there today? It seemed to be for a fair few other drivers. I mean, a lot of people running well over the half an hour mark. Was that sort of part of your strategy coming into the race, or was it just let's just play this out as whatever unfolds in front of me?
Well, I was going to try and pit sort of halfway, and then I got the damage, and I thought, do you know what? I'll just try this. I'll just try running on and see how much fuel I actually do need to take, because I did feel as if I was carrying damage, which therefore would use slightly more. But at the end, I was quite happy with only having a 10-second pit stop, or an actual 10-second stop, so I'm happy with that.
Right, well, it's a treat. Congratulations, Alan. That's Alan McCain. Third overall and winner in Spec 2. Tom, who have you managed to go for a chat?
We're going to drag up Jim Brewster. Jim, we've just come to the biggest track that we've had on the calendar so far this year, Fuji, and yet another interesting challenge. I mean, you're involved in a fair bit of action today. how did this stack up compared to the other tracks for you?
Well, it's a bit like running on an airport, but no, I like it. It's real high speed, and as long as you stay away from the sausage curbs. Unfortunately, I got royally punted on lap 4. I knew Tom, that I was going to have to fight with Tom, but then once I got punted, I was in a different group, so I just tried to maximize what I had, and well done to Tom. He ended up getting the win. That's excellent.
And well, how in terms of your own prospects of winning, obviously going forward, how are you how are you feeling about that?
Well, this Masters, we a couple of the alien Masters, I like to refer to them, weren't here today. There's usually 3 guys that are up front, and then Kurt and Tom are in the next pier, and I'm like 6th or 7th fastest, and so I just you just try to maximize what you get, and on a day like today, you get P2. A couple people didn't show up, and a couple people made mistakes. You just try to make the most. I try to get my car the best ride it can have, and today, unfortunately, it had a big dent in the rear end for half the race, but other than that, anyway, good race, fun track. It's fun without the chicane.
And my final question quickly then, that big dent in the back of the car, how does that actually affect you in terms of lap time on in these cars?
I couldn't really tell. I was with a different group of people, and I still had people with me, so I still was getting drafts. So I was still, I thought about maybe pitting, but I was staying with the people, and I think it was important to not be by yourself today. To have some company down that main straight. And I think as long as you had some company, I think that was the smart place to stay. So I went ahead and stayed for the full fuel load since I had company. So hopefully that worked out. But it was still, I had some fun back there. It wasn't where I started, but it's still a fun group of guys. That's what's so great about the Weekend Warriors. No matter where you are in the pack, you're going to have some fun, and they're good racers. They race hard. It's just an excellent group of people.
Well, thank you very much. Echoing your thoughts, Jim. Thank you very much, and we'll speak to you soon.
Very good. See you next week.
And one driver we don't normally get to speak to. We'll give him a quick chat for him as we're running a bit over time. Tom Gradwell joins us. Tom, congratulations, victory in Masters. We were talking about it. I believe you're actually based in Australia, aren't you? So is it Monday morning for you right now?
Yep, Monday morning, 5 to 7.
Wow. That's an early start for you. So is it always jump in, do Weekend Warriors, and then head off to the day job?
No, I'm retired. This is Masters, remember?
Well, I know, but the way the world economy is, we're still got to work until the late years of our life. But in that case, that doesn't matter. The day is your own. I mean, just talk us through today. You were involved in some absolutely epic battles, and in the end, 7th overall. Not too shabby result too.
I'm stunned. That's just an accidental podium. I made so many mistakes, and I was guilty of making inroads into other people's cars as well. So I was very lucky because I had 11 incident points by the end of the race, and I think I had 10 by about lap 5.
Wow, so that's impressive that you managed to not get as many in the latter stages. That's for certain. And just track temperature is really, really high there today in Fuji. And just how much of a factor was that playing in part of, do you think, the incidents that we saw, or just driving in general?
I don't think so. I mean, I was about a second off my quickest time because of the temperature. But look, there's several corners in this track that people tend to either take slower or faster, and I've noticed it all week. And the corner where the chicane's been removed is a classic, where some people will go really quickly through there and others won't, and you can just so easily get concertinaed.
Well, either way, it worked out okay for you, and victory in class, which I believe that's second win for the season after winning the Laguna in class. So, congratulations, 7th overall as well. That's Tom Gradwell. Wow.
Cheers.
Talking of Tom, I think that's just done and dusted for today. Quick closing thoughts from yourself?
I loved Fuji. It's such an interesting track compared to the other ones, and I hope we go back to more big racetracks because alongside those smaller ones, they're good fun.
Good news. Next week, it's Interlagos. That's always an epic race in these. Hands down, no questions asked. I'm sure it's going to be no different. But to round out things on Super Sunday with a dual header of Weekend Warriors, thank you very much for joining us. And congratulations to all our winners. Commiseration to those that didn't have the best. I've been Tim Cox with Tom Dillon and Lewis Araya. Thanks very much for joining us. And we'll see you in a week's time. We head to Interlagos for the Ford Spec Racers. See you then.